to report. This is about doctors, and as I said, I'm hospital staff, and this story shook my core because it's disgusting and it's wow, it violates your rights as a human, as a patient. This is called Queen's doctor arrested to allegedly drugging and raping patients and women he's met online. Here goes. Every one of us goes to the doctor, right? Why? Because our health is imperative and it determines how we live. Healthcare is fundamental. As a healthcare worker, I felt compelled to share my thoughts on this rather disturbing story. Yeah, disturbing, alright? When one goes to the doctor, whether it's your family practice or in a medical center, hospital, you expect the best care, right? Yeah, it should be that way. We look up to our physicians as people we can trust, those that want us to thrive. We even go through lengths to establish a buddy system with with our healthcare providers. Yeah, it's important to have this bond. You believe in your doctor and believe they would never violate your trust. They took an oath not to violate patients' trust. However, at Queen's Presbyterian Hospital in Flushing, New York, a particular doctor went beyond violating the trust of his patients. Dr. G. Allen Chang is accused of raping 3 women in his apartment as well as 3 patients of his at his hospital. Chang worked at the New York Presbyterian Hospital as a gastroenterologist. Prosecutors say that there are more victims they are trying to locate. Prosecutors say over a period, Dr. Chang, yuck, he isn't even worthy of such a title, drugged and sexually assaulted his patients and others over a period of years. And this is known because, of course, this arrogant fuck was crazy enough, conceited enough to film himself on his cell phone committing these crimes. The investigation happened last year when a woman accused him of rape. Investigators then searched his phone and found evidence of more victims. Well, I'll be goddamn. This narcissistic sociopath videoed himself assaulting 3 women on various occasions. I guess he needed a memory to look back on, like this was the highlight of his sad, pathetic, poor-ass existence. But all those trophies, all those trophies and his victims became the beginning of the end of his getting over on people. I'm going to say this with Dr. G. Allen Chang. The reason why he turned out probably being this type of doctor, this is probably the reason why he became a doctor. He probably was someone who really wasn't attractive growing up. Probably had a small wiener. Probably had no game. Got rejected constantly, or his sex game was complete garbage. And he couldn't take the rejection. He couldn't take being laughed at. So, of course, I'm going to go become a doctor, he said. But I'm going to become a doctor, yes, to exploit my evil plan. Excellent. Yeah. Yep, that's what he did, folks. When you go to the doctor, you don't expect this. But in Chang's case, he isn't the first doctor to do this to patients. Remember the trial of Dr. Larry Nassar, ending with his sentences and his victims facing him in court due to his sick and perverted breach of trust? He did the same thing to his patients, male and female. People such as that don't deserve to gain the trust of patients. They are pariahs, predators, disgusting pieces of shit. Okay? Very demonic people who hide behind a white coat, as a wolf does in sheep's clothing. This is the reason why he became a doctor. To exploit his predatory behavior. The hospital spoke out on the sacred trust, of patients, stating, as caregivers, we are responsible for the safety and well-being of our patients. It is a sacred trust. The crimes committed by this individual are heinous, despicable, and fundamental portrayal of our mission and our patients. Really? Then if that's so, why did you keep him on as long as you did? I mean, really? Well, I mean, I guess if you think of this way, if someone's accusing someone, you have to investigate, you have to be sure, and it has to be proven either true or false for you to make a decision. What this demeaning ass human being did was use his power and authority of a doctor to violate his patients and violate other people. He did this at his place of work as well as in his personal life, his home. The women who he violated in his apartment were women, some women he met online. One woman stated she remembered him putting a mask on her face with cotton balls and some substance in it, and she passed out. Dr. Chang is very much a sociopath. He saw his victims as property and betrayal, and he betrayed their trust in the worst way possible. This is a guy, as I said, been rejected, has no game, didn't know how to be himself to naturally attract a woman. So he decided he was going to get women by cheating, by drugging them and taking advantage of them. To drug someone and take advantage of a person who cannot consent or not consent, that says a lot about him. You must be a pathetic and immoral human being to take away someone's choice. And I mean, that's what he did. Dr. Chang did. You know, with all that he was lacking, and besides, you became a doctor, that wasn't good enough for you to save lives. But you had to exploit your revenge on past women that maybe told you were a loser, or you were whack as hell in bed, or small, or you couldn't sex well. I don't know. I'm not going to psychologize this person because this is a sick individual, and it's not good for the mental. You know, he had low self-esteem, and I would say perhaps he did have low self-esteem, or felt because he was a doctor he could play God with people's lives. And that's what he did. A then 19-year-old patient of his says Dr. Chang drugged her through an IV as she was preparing for surgery in the pediatric section of the hospital. She woke up hours later, no sign of Dr. Chang. The patient felt severe pain to her lower abdomen. Yeah, why would she feel pain? Why would she feel pain to her lower abdomen? I mean, seriously, is it really hard to wonder why she was feeling pain in her lower abdomen and why her body was sore? The victim tell Telemundo she was scared and no longer wanted to go to any more hospitals, and prays to God that she no longer ever gets sick ever again for the rest of her life. This poor child is traumatized. Well, young lady is traumatized. She doesn't trust any doctor or any hospital, and I don't blame her. Why would she? The safest place where she thought she was going to get the best care betrayed her. Attorney Nicholas Lakius represents the victim and added, having to go to the district attorney's office and see a video of yourself unconscious getting assaulted after being drugged, you know, that's unimaginable to deal with. So she's taking it day by day. I can imagine. That's like somebody breaking into your home and stealing your ID, stealing your money. And this person, you more than likely, and granted, this young girl could have really pretty much been a virgin. So you stole her purity from her. You deflowered her without her consent. So I can imagine that can be traumatizing. Like, what right do you have? What right did he have to do this? What right? New York Presbyterian Hospital fired Dr. Chang towards the end of 2022 when he was first arrested. My question is, why the hell was he able still to work there with the accusations and investigations going on? And I mean, of course it was protocol. But these accusations became more and more and more proof was coming up that he did do these things. This lady, the victim who I was just talking about, and who was then 19, even pointed him out as one of the doctors in a lineup that did this to her. I mean, how much more confirmation did New York Presbyterian Hospital need? Like, how much more? You know, imagine how many more people who were endangered among this monster. Because the longer you kept him here, the more women he was preying on. The more female victims he was just slowly but surely lining up. You know, so it makes me want to look at the hospital some kind of way too. You know, are you more about your reputation or are you about your patients? District Attorney Melinda Katz says it's a difficult case as this is to find victims. And when you do find them, you cannot go into too much detail about each of the victims. But it is a traumatic case. I'm sure it is. Being violated by someone you looked up to and guidance about your health is just as bad as a parent, teacher, or close relative doing this to you. I pray these victims get what they need as far as closure to help them deal with what occurred, but I don't know what can help them, I don't know what would be able to help somebody who has been through this, who has been violated. The fact that this MF used hospital-administered drugs to do this to women in and outside of the hospital, not caring that he could have killed these women. And yes, he could have OD'd and killed these women. That happened to a social media, I'll talk about her one day, a social media influencer from Ghana who went out on a date and her date drugged her, put a drug in her drink to sleep with her. But she ended up going into cardiac arrest and dying. Wow. He didn't have a care in the world as long as he got what he wanted. As long as he got that piece of poontang that he wanted. Or whatever the hell he did to these women. It's sick. It's infuriating and it's mind-boggling. Investigators found a brown bottle in his home too while searching. Of course, a drug substance. Well, duh. He has to use that on his victims. Some of these women, he used it on people. They said some of these women were from the San Francisco Bay Area. That's where he was educated. Some of these women were from Thailand. The patients, women he met online. Ugh. It just gets eerier and eerier. New York Presbyterian Hospital says that they are fully cooperating with the Queens District Attorney's Office, the NYPD, and the New York State Department of Health. Hopefully more victims will come forward. Someone like this should never be able to practice medicine. He is demonic, he is distorted, he is demented, he is diabolical. Wow. Just so much evil out here. In fact, you know, it's just, I hope when he is locked up on Rikers Island, maybe those cellmates will show him the same kind of treatment and courtesy he showed his patients and other victims. Let's hope for that. He best not drop that soap, because they'll be waiting on that ass. My mom told me once about a past gynecologist of hers, I'm not going to give the name, who gave her the creeps. And even one time, while doing a routine pelvic exam, this is when she was younger, she didn't feel right. She felt as if the doctor, was enjoying himself too much while doing an exam. He was the family doctor. He was even gyno to my twin aunts when they were teens. One of my aunts smacked his hand away from her while he was performing a breast exam, saying, "Don't touch me. No one touches my breast." That's the aunt that's getting married next month, who's now de facto a conspiracy theorist nut bucket. Okay. The fact is, no doctor should abuse their authority to take advantage of someone. It takes a lot of courage to muster up, especially in today's healthcare. And evil forces such as Dr. Chang use his status to his advantage to destroy people. May they run that party line at Rikers Island all up through his ass. May they do it. Do the party line, run it on that ass. He'll never be the same, and he'll never do this again to somebody else. Alright, folks. This is Baby Doll Soaps and Things signing off. Ciao, Bella.